What's good, YouTube? Cardfight can't hear AQUA Life Baby. You already know how it is. Alright, so this is just going to be obviously another video just talking about things that I have experienced, through my first, to today, week of playing with Nightrose. Not only playing with her as a player, but playing against her as an opponent. And I think it's very good to get two different perspectives of a deck that you are piloting or considering to pilot, so you can get views, both conflicting views in a way. So this video is simply about, her GB2 ability, which helps set up, her wall or stunt the opponent's offensive progress. It's really going to be, just some rulings about it, as well as, a way to play around it that some decks can do and some decks, just can't do, as well as calling bluffs. So, obviously, starting out, obviously simple. Her GB2 is when a rear guard is sent, pretty much is retired from the rear guard circle and sent to the drop zone, going from point A, rear guard circle, to point B, drop zone. You can mill 3 and bring it back to the board. Now, one ruling is, you guys, I didn't know this at first, and I kind of let my opponent get away with some extra ishness, back when, I really wasn't invested in Nightrose, and I wasn't really trying to pay attention to the rulings of the deck, and just didn't really give a damn in a way. If you intercept, you're moving it from the rear guard to the guard circle and then to the drop zone. If you move it to the guardian circle to the drop zone, you can't use her ability to bring it back, because it's not going from the rear guard straight to the drop zone. You're going from the guardian circle to the drop zone. So when someone intercepts, when someone's like this, all right, intercept, and then they say mill 3, bring it back, it's like, no. Proper placement, my G. Intercept, drop zone. So then they can't bring it back if they go here. So, but if it goes from here to here, you can do that. Now, her ability is only once per turn, but it can be used during either player's turn. With that knowledge, playing against the deck, you want to find ways around this ability in a way. You want to, in a sense, force this ability. Force her to use this ability, or just force a proc of this ability, so that, because her ability is not when it's like, alright, so if I have these two here, this dies, and then this dies, and then it's like, alright, I'll bring, and then, I'll use her ability, drop my freaking card, I'll use her ability to bring it back. No, her ability only activates, when the first card goes. So the first card, now if they all go at the same time, then you can use her ability on any card you want, because they all die at the exact same time. So you can only bring one back. But if it goes one at a time, then you can only do it on the first one, because that's when her auto ability will proc. Doing it on the second one is illegal, and you cannot do that. So again, there are different ways to play around this and force it out. Now, in doing that, talking about retiring decks and decks that are able to retire first and foremost, obviously you're going to look for these 3 cards. You're going to look for Lazy, Cannoneer, and Mick the Ghosty. Mick the Ghosty gives her a 21k wall. Cannoneer pops a card, lets them draw a card, and stunts offensive progress. Lazy brings one of these 2 cards out. Now, these are the 3 stars of the defense, obviously in combination with Negro Lily, or if you perform the Cardinal Sin. Now, now, there is a deck, Vanquisher, who can retire, let's just say you retire Cannoneer off the board, right? Now, retiring it off the board means that they're going to send it, its ability is retire bind. You retire it, send it to the drop zone, then bind it. Because you're retiring from the rear guard circle straight to the drop zone first, it procs her auto ability to mill 3 and bring a card back, but you cannot interrupt the flow of abilities. You cannot interrupt an ability. It's like the Harry deck. If you soul charge the stand trigger, the stand trigger goes on standby. You finish performing Harry's ability. You cannot interrupt it. You finish performing Harry's ability. Then you put the stand trigger back, search a card, throw it into your soul, shuffle your deck, and do all of that. So you cannot interrupt the ability. So if he does retire the Cannoneer and then binds it, it will proc her ability to mill 3 and bring the card back. You have to bring pretty pretty much the exact copy that got hit. And since it's in the bind zone, she lost her target. So she can no longer touch this card, which is a pretty good for Vanquisher to get around this GB2 ability. You know, if you catch your opponent putting it in the front row, obviously, you know, smart Nightrose players will put it in the back row. You know, to pop it with Lily later on. Now, another thing is that a lot of times you're going to see them have Negro Bone on the board. Negro Bone, obviously, is one of Nightrose's main combo cards. And it doesn't have the hollow. So this card's going to stay on the board. Some decks have the ability to do it, and some decks don't. If you have the ability to get rid of this card, get rid of this card first. Don't get rid of one of these three cards, because then you're going to proc her ability and give them a free counterattack on defense. And, you know, her GB2 ability is the thing that is, you know, what really helps make this deck powerful. It's her ability to, you know, counteract to an opponent's offensive turn. So if you get rid of this and proc her ability, then these cards on their defensive turn are dead. And if they're in the front row, then all they're going to be able to really serve for is intercepts, because you proc her ability by killing off like a bone, which is usually the only card that's generally left on her board. So, you know, again, there are some decks that, you know, can't get rid of it, and understandable, you're going to end up playing into a Negrily, but what you want to do is call their bluff. Now, what do I mean by call their bluff? I mean that when you see, you know, these cards on the board or whatever it is, generally, they're, you know, and that's at the end of their turn, they're going to have a heal trigger in hand to go into Negrily and go Negrily into one of these three for a counterattack. Now, if you don't see them drive check a heal trigger, then you don't have knowledge of them. What generally will give it away if they have a heal trigger or not is if they mill 3 at the end of their turn and bring one of these cards back not in hollow, so that on your turn they can go into Negrily and pop it. That's generally a dead giveaway, but sometimes Nightrose players can be bluffing, and they can just mill 3, call it out, maybe call it out, here's the intercept or wherever it is, call it out, and, you know, try and play mind games with you to force you into probably doing something that you weren't going to do if this card wasn't on the board. They're going to force you to make a different play than you would have because, you know, they can't get the Negrily combo off. And they want you to make a different play than you would. If they have it, they have it. But you want to call, but you know, you're going to want to call their bluff. It's like, okay, I'm going to force you into using it or not. Now, obviously, again, don't want to do the cardinal sin of attacking this rear guard and giving them a free card. You don't do that cardinal sin. You attack, generally you just attack their Vanguard and force them into Negrily. Because remember, if they intercept, they can't do anything. So you want to call their bluff. And again, some decks just can't. Some decks just have to, you know, bite the bullet and play into that card. I mean, now, if you catch them sleeping, you know, if they have something like that and you catch them sleeping with a card in here, you can attack this, you know, try and force a 10k shield. Because if they just let it die, ability procs and they can't get it off. So, you know, you can try to force out some shield here or force them into an early Lily. You force them into an early Lily, that can hamper their defense for the turn. You know, that can hamper what they want to do for the rest of the turn, because you're going to take out a 10k shield from their hand, or maybe a 5k shield, depending on, you know, what kind of attack you throw at them. And then, but you know, if you don't take it out, then they're going to be like, well, dang, do I want to G guard this weak attack and go, you know, do my Lily a little bit prematurely? So you kind of want to play mind games and kind of force her ability out like that. Now, also, you know, more or less the last point is you want to look at their resources. You want to pay attention to your opponents, to your Nightrose opponents' resources. You want to see how many counterblasts they have and what's in the drop zone. Usually, if you see a lazy on board, you want to look in their drop zone. Do they have Cannoneer? Do they have Make the Ghosty? You know, so that means that if they have those two, then you know that if they do Lily you, then they can either stunt your offense, depending on what you put out, and or bring out Mick the Ghosty and put up a 21k wall, and you can definitely. So once you recognize that, you can plan your strategy around that. Now, another important thing is pay attention to their counterblast, because that is another resource that they have to manage on that turn usually as well. For instance, I was watching off-topic games. They had like a top 4 of their or finals of their Toy Links locals between Nightrose mirror match. One of the Nightrose players on the right-hand side had 1 counterblast available, and he had a Lazy on board. Well, the Nightrose player on the left attacked Lazy with a rearguard attack and gave that player a free bring back Lazy. Lazy comes back, brings back the Sand Trigger plus 10k to Vanguard, and he ended up losing that match because he made the cardinal sin of attacking that card and wasn't paying attention to the resources. But the player on the right could not get the Negro Lily combo off successfully because he had 1 counterblast, so he would have been able to go Lily, counterblast, and pop something and get 10k shield, sure, but he wouldn't have been able to combo this into that and give Nightrose 21k defense for the turn. So if he paid attention more to his counterblast, he could do that. Now, again, when you look at their drop zone and you notice these 2 cards in drop zone, if they have 3 counterblasts available, they can go Lily, Lazy, and Cannoneer. If they have 2 counterblasts available, then and obviously this is with Lazy on the board, they can go Lily, Lazy, and Stand Trigger for plus 10k defense. Something simple like that. If they have the Stand Trigger on the board, or Cannoneer, for instance, if they have Cannoneer on the board and they have 2 counterblasts, they can go Lily, Cannoneer, bring back Cannoneer, pop. Okay, 1 for Lily and 1 for Cannoneer when you bring it back. If they have Mick the Ghosty on the board, and they can go counterblast 1, because they're just working on 1 counterblast. Counterblast 1, pop, bring back 10k. Simple. So again, you have to not only pay attention to what's in their drop zone and what they have available to them, but also look at how many counterblasts they have and plan your attack. If your opponent has a Lazy, that means that at minimum they're going to be using 2 counterblasts in order to provide a counter attack. If they have 3 open counterblasts and a Lazy on board, because Lazy is usually the card they're going to bring. Again, like I said, a dead giveaway is as if at the end of the turn they mill 3 and bring Lazy back onto the board. That means that they're either going to have the heal trigger in hand and are going to need 3 counterblasts for a Cannoneer, 2 counterblasts for a Mick the Ghosty, or they're just going to try and bluff you. They're going to try and force you to do something you don't want to do because they're bluffing that, oh, I don't have the heal trigger in hand, but I'm going to make you think I have the heal trigger in hand. That's what they're going to do. That's what I do sometimes. I was able to successfully trick my opponent, once before. When I had my teammate Black Steve play with the deck, he tried to bluff me. I played around. I kind of played around the bluff, and he didn't have the G guard in hand. So sometimes you're just going to have to bite the bullet, guys, and take the Lily Lazy Mick, Lily Lazy Cannoneer, or Cannoneer Mick, Lily Cannoneer Mick, whatever play. Sometimes you're going to do that because you probably don't have the your deck can't do it, or you're just in a position where you're going to have to bite the bullet and chance that they do or do not have Lily. Obviously, if you see them drive check a heal trigger and one of these guys is on the board, then and you check you check their open counterblast, then Lily is live. That Lily will be live. It's that simple. And most Nightrose players run 2 Lilies, so just be prepared for at least 2 Lilies. No way. But that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll bring you guys more videos soon. Hope you guys been enjoying the more or less consistent content bringing out in the way. I'm definitely getting into more recording now that out for school and all that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to definitely be improving my Nightrose deck some more. I'll come out with an updated deck profile once I work out more kinks and add some things in, take some things out, acquire more pieces, whatever it is. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. AQUA Life Baby, you already know. Peace.